Morning to all the attendees of this live webinar. Today we are so very happy to state here a new webinar on NetPoint, Mimosa, and NetPoint together. I want to say good morning to all the guys to attending to this webinar. My name is David Alvarez from NetPoint Antennas, and today we're going to talk about Mimosa and NetPoint conquers the 6 gigahertz band with carrier stability. So we are ready to start this live webinar. So today is with me Byron Almendares, the product manager engineer from Appcom. He's going to join to us in a few minutes. And we are ready to start. Welcome to all the attendees today. So we're going to the agenda for today is going to be the introduction to fiber to the home versus fiber wireless access and the benefits, NetPoint antennas features and capabilities, the integration with the 5 gigahertz and the 6 gigahertz equipment, the compatibility with radio brands and capability and case studies and their real-world applications between NetPoint and Mimosa. And one, we're going to see the real case studies, and we have that at the end of this webinar question and answer session. So, hi, Baron, I see you here. You're here.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, thank you.
welcome, welcome.
Thank you, David, for this very interesting webinar and welcome to all the attendees.
Perfect. So we're going to start. So as you know, the principal issues on the deployment on the area and the telecom companies, it was very particular in these years that the noise and the interference between the frequencies and the 5 gigahertz. Right now, NetPoint and Mimosa, we are working to close the digital divide and give to the end user and the ISPs high throughput and low latency between the connections on the backhaul to make reliable again all the sorry to make reliable all the deployments for the telecom, more specifically if you are using the antennas for backhaul fibers and very important, give to the end user the best stability of the internet. So in that reasons, NetPoint and Mimosa work very closely to close the digital divide in the midst of the antennas and the radios and the deployment together that technologies, because for example right now we have all the vendors around the world is using the fiber to the home. But for example, all the principal companies forget the proposed the fights of wireless access that. So we going to see which the difference to use fiber to the home and fixed wireless access. So we going to see a little a little fight. No, that's not a fight. That we going to see this complementation between these two these very important, very important technologies, because they need, or anyone needs these technologies deploying together. So in the real life, what happened with use fiber to the home and fixed wireless access. So the choice between the fiber to the home and fiber fixed wireless access is not one that size fit in the listeners. It's not a decision influenced by factors like the market density. For example, if you are in a big city, yeah, you are in the best place to use fiber to the home, for example. But for example, download and upload speeds and time to market, because everyone's know we have a time to market to make all the things more specific in the ISP business. For example, in the rural areas where the dense we where you don't have densely populated, so you can offer high capacity connection, because in areas where you don't have so many, where you don't have, for example, a high investment. So you're going to need to deploy the fiber. Sorry, you're going to deploy the fixed wireless access, because you're going to find there an area where the where it's natural tiny populated rural regions, efficiently reaching customer over long distance. Because for example, in rural areas, we have, for example, 5 customers, maybe 10 customers, but in your principal pop, when you're based at your company, so your customer, it's, for example, 5 miles, say 16 miles, and deploy only fiber for that user. That's going to be very expensive, but if you prefer to use, for example, the fixed wireless access, for example, with NetPoint and Mimosa, you can give to that customer high throughput, low capacity, and one thing very important, all your deployment is going to be very fast. Why? Because you need to check in where areas you require to be carefully. You need to be very careful in the considerations where you need to deploy the the technology, the fiber, or maybe the antennas. For example, in areas where, for example, in the center in the United States, for example, Kentucky or maybe Wyoming, in very rural areas, you need to deploy the antennas, and only in the big cities or small cities that are grounding, that will be a great place where you're going to deploy the fiber. For example, mm, we come to think, if you are based in Kentucky, again, the Kentucky, I like that states. So if you are, for example, in one area very near to Louisville, so you need to deploy, maybe in that city, it's going to be good for you to deploy the fiber, right? But with the antennas and the fiber together, you can deploy 'em to other places very far. Only installing the antenna, deploying the radio, and then it's still grumbling with the fiber, maybe in the small areas in the in your city, right? So Mimosa and NetPoint totally today have a great connectivity demand on the road list. Why? Because NetPoint and Mimosa, they can offer gigabit speeds for no longer luxury. They are essentials, right? So, for example, the rural and remote areas, it's still struggling with reliable internet, because they need it. That old areas need reliable internet. Anyone needs reliable internet. But Mimosa and NetPoint helps to the fiber deployments because in so many places it's expensive and the time is consuming, and sometimes it's impossible to deploy the fiber very fast. So with NetPoint and Mimosa, for example, together, you going to deploy the internet very fast, and with that you maybe can win that time to market I was made mention at the beginning of this webinar, right? The weather conditions and the terrain and Mimosa and that point is not a bit easy because, for example, you can, if you are planning to use NetPoint and Mimosa, you can make, for example, the the design in the platform on Mimosa, and then you can check the conditions on the terrain and the most important obstacles that you can that you that you can that you can fetch using NetPoint and Mimosa. And one other no on one other the highlight, or maybe the technical advantage versus the fiber to the home, and use them NetPoint and Mimosa steps together, it was the superior lens performance, right? Because with NetPoint and Mimosa, you can get range capabilities. For example, at the distance, at the distance from 1 kilometer or up to 112 kilometers with fiber, right? And using, for example, NetPoint and Mimosa together, we have so many radios with the transceiver with the transceiver options to use with fiber on the end and the begin and in the end of the link, right? That's very that's been very incredible because you can deploy the boot technologies in only one shot. That's amazing because with that you don't lose the time to market. You can win time and money selling the service and still grounding all the infrastructure for the fiber and the lean technology. So other highlight very to make this technology more reliable between NetPoint and Mimosa, it was the weather relations, right? Because the generally for harsh environment conditions, it's there in the two technologies and the antenna and the radio. Why? Because that technology is very useful and reliable for the ISPs and the deployments around the world because it's using right now in the most harshest areas. For example, in the Caribbean, it's using in the winter right now. If you are we are in November, the winter's coming. I feel like it from Game Trumps. But but it's real. The winter is coming, and we need to get in the all deployments in the for all the West, the most harshest requirements for works in the best environments that you have in your area. So NetPoint and Mimosa never going to lose the signal, and is going to be always available for give to your customers the service. The other highlight using NetPoint and Mimosa, even even when the harsh environments, is the low latency, because the low latency is going to be always there. You're going to find, if you need to get low latency internet for your customers, so you have Mimosa and NetPoint. Why? Because the low latency in this time is critical for real-time applications. For example, super PLNs, cistern alarm systems. For example, sub internet, in for example, for using for military applications, for government. Anyway, low latency. It was it this is the most great highlight that you have with NetPoint and Mimosa, because that other brands in the market, you have the low latency, but you don't have throughput. With NetPoint and Mimosa, you have throughput, and the most important, low latency. The two the two best highlights in the same time. And in the final in the final consideration of the technical advantage on the NetPoint and Mimosa radios, it's a gigabit speeds, where the fiber is not viable. Yeah, feasible, because with Mimosa and NetPoint, the return on the investment, it speaks in volumes, because you're going to be more faster the deployment, and with that you can get a quicker revenue generation, because for example, deploy fiber in a little cases, that's going to be very expensive, and the most important, the infrastructure is going to be more big. In this case, with Mimosa and NetPoint together, you have lower infrastructure costs, because you had a better profit margins, right? And with the better profit margins, you can get better results for your pocket. And with that, you can deploy more fast any technology to give more fastest service. One thing very interesting is that, so it's in a radio and antenna, and so many people talk about nights, about the antennas and the radios. For example, if we are raining, you're going to lose a signal. So NetPoint and Mimosa, we don't we fight versus the mites, because we reduce the mountains, for example, and we made down the requirements stronger for war with high environment in the RF engineering, because I'm going to operational savings, and that's great, because make the scalable ground to to get a future profit investment. So anyway, for example, we're going to see a few case studies at the frequencies on the 11 gigahertz with the NetPoint antennas, because the 11 gigahertz in the States is very popular, using the 10 and maybe the 11. So, and this is a case study made in Mexico, where we have 27 miles, right? 27 miles, and the signal length from 56.9 dBm, and we have the two channel width from 18 megahertz, and we have a throughput very closely to the 936 36 mix. So I think it's great for the distance. But we're going to see one thing of the between the net point antennas and Mimosa radios. It's the linearity. The linearity availability, sorry, it was amazing because we have very closely the not the not the 100% of the ability and the link availability. So and that's made the link very stable. And one thing very important, we have 100% of the time all the throughput using completely all the infrastructure on the radio and the antenna together at the distance of from the 27 kilometers, sorry, 27 miles. I think it's great. And one thinking one thing I think is better is the 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 deployment with NetPoint and Mimosa radios. That's going to be very fast. Why? Because the radio and the antennas, it's very easy to install. And one thing very important, the the all the antennas on that point, it's pretty simple. So, and I thinking with that, we don't want to lose your time. We want to help to you to improve your links. But for us, the most important, it's the parts somewhere else. That's going to be that's 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 going to be the a game changer, as you know, because we provide internet access without the need to extensive and the last mile fiber deployments, which solves we I thinking we solves the principal issues where you don't have internet available. Sorry, where you don't have internet available. So we close temporarily. We are a solution versus the delays from the fiber to the home. But if you don't have the delay on the fiber to the home, you can deploy together these two technologies because we're a permanent solutions. And I think it's great to use, for example, the NetPoint antennas and the Mimosa radios. Other highlight between these two technologies, it's a low profile, it's a low profile requirement. And with that, we can we can make the we can make the deployment more small, and you don't need to lose money to increase your infrastructure. In, so anyway, we can we can work to close the digital divide with our low profile antennas, with high gain antennas, and the most important, using using the boot brands in only in only one in only one invest. So I think it's great. For example, why to use NetPoint antennas? So the NetPoint antennas offers in the portfolio the 5 gigahertz antennas operating in the frequencies from 4.9 to 6.4 gigahertz, completely compatible with the Mimosa radios. And for example, we have high gains antennas and different signs. For example, for the Mimosas, C5C, C5, C6X, and the B6X for short distance. We're going to talk about 3 miles, 4 miles, maybe 7 miles. We have the antenna MP Pro S27, 1 foot antenna. Yeah, 1 foot, 1 foot dish. So 2 pack antennas. I think it's great, and it's completely is directly compatible with the Mimosas with the Mimosas its radius, the three-zone radius, right? So for example, in this is the 27 dBi antenna in 1 foot. For example, if you are thinking to use the net point antennas for a distance up to 10 miles, up to 16 16 miles. So you can use, for example, the NetPoint AmpiPro S30. It's AmpiPro S30. With that antennas, you have two principal highlights. The first one, it was a radon cover with where you can use in the more hedges areas the three-zone antenna directly wide guide. I think it's great. And one thing very important, you can deploy that antenna very closely to the 18 miles. So with only one shot, I think it's very great, right? And that antenna, the hardware is compatible, for example, with the most new radio from Mimosa that visits us. So I think it's great because it's a great hardware. It's a very big hardware radio, but the antennas and NetPoint is ready for works with that radios, and nobody in the market is ready like us. So we are ready for work with that radio with the visit sets. Other ones and the antennas and the net point, for example, in the areas where you need, for example, more gain, we have two model mores. For example, the 34 dBi antenna on the net point AmpiPro S34 has a radome cover too, and the net point AmpiPro S36, the big one on the antennas and mimosas, compatible directly with the Ad series radios. We have 37, 34, and 36 dBi, 3 foot, 4 foot dish antennas, directly compatible with all the Mimosa radios, right? With the 5 and the 6 gigahertz radios. But what we gonna do if, for example, we have a connectorizing antennas and you want to use the Twiston radius. Okay, so we have the twin waves adapters. The twin waves adapter is an adapter where you can install directly on the Prism radio with Mimosa, and with that you're going to be the Mimosa radio connectorize it, and that's going to be scalable. You're going to be the radio scalable with the Mimosa with the antenna with any antenna bender. That's one to help to you to provide to you in your links, because anyone has other antenna bender. So and you have there the technology, and you don't need to change the antenna, make the alignment again, so things like that. Only deploy the adapter, and that's all. You can use directly your quadset cable and connect to the connector in the antenna, and that's all. We can make the all the Mimosa more reliable and more scalable. So I think it's great. One thing more about the NetPoint products, it's we are supporting right now the 6 gigahertz unlicensed spectrum, tripling available wireless spectrum for higher capacity. The option for standard parabolic antennas, we have option for use, for example, high performance antennas and marine environments antennas. Why not? Because we offer high gain, extending range, and reliable connectivity. So, and we use the and we always use, if it's you can. You can install and forget, because that's one of the best reasons to use NetPoint and Mimosa. Install and forget. Why are you going to forget that link? Because you never going to have problems with your link, because it's very reliable. Um and the 5 gigahertz solutions. So we can point to point by hub antennas, as I say a few moments ago. These solutions are compatible with the Mimosas, right? The Mimosas, the NetPoint MPGen 2, it's the standard antennas on the NetPoint, and this antennas is connectorized, but that antenna it's compatible with the radios, for example, C5C. It was he was that radio. If you remember the C5C, it was the most great radios on the family from Mimosa and long time ago. But right now we have the C6X from Mimosa. So and that antenna is compatible with that radio. But only you need to add the adapter, the twin waves adapter, to make the radio connectorize it right. The other one, and the family and antennas and the net point is the ultra shielded antennas, the high performance antennas on the net point, MPX. And with the MPX, we have a great partnership between the most powerful radios on the family from Mimosa, the B radios, the B series and the Mimosa, B5X, and now B6 ads, but this boot radius needs adapter too. If you don't want to use the adapter, for example, for the Mimosa, you can deploy directly with the MP Pros antennas, right? The model's MP Pro, if you see MP Pro in the description on the SKU of the antenna, that antenna is completely compatible with the Twison radio from Mimosa without any adapter, right? Maybe for you, use and hear the adapter, you say, "Oh, I don't need the adapter." But the adapter they can help to you, for example, to change the radio, to change, for example, the antenna. You don't need to change the antenna, right? Don't forget. Don't forget that the radio make all your deployment more scalable. And with that, you can make all your links more reliable. One of the other ones of the families of the NetPoint antennas is the marine environments. The antennas for marine environments and the NetPoint so are are made for deploying in areas, for example, very into the jungle, or maybe the mm, to deploy the antennas in Florida or maybe in Hawaii. Anyway, so the marine environments antenna is going to deploy in the more hercious area. All the net point antennas has a radon cover. This is very important stuff, right? Because if you if you know all the areas is going to be it's going to be different in any places in the environments needs needs other kind of antennas. So and in the family and the seats on the between the mimosas and the 6 gigahertz antennas, we have compatible the products for the radios, for example, Mimosa C5X, Mimosa 6X, Mimosa B5X, and Mimosa B6X, right? For example, for the family of the 5X radius, the best antenna you can choose to use directly, for example, for the Mimosa C5X and the Mimosa B5X. You can use, for example, the MPX antennas, right? Don't forget, for these antennas, you need the adapter. But you can't, if you can use, for example, all the family of the Mimosas radios, you can use directly with the MP Pro series for NetPoint antennas, right? For example, for the for the for the B11 or license bands, so we have the antennas MP11 compatible directly with the B11 radio, and I think it's a great radio because with this radio we can deploy, for example, the distance from 100 kilometers, 65 miles, 67 miles. We can deploy a good a, a good length with the fiber. This is very important, with the fiber and the antennas in the same technology. And as you know, we are talking about the adapter. The MPTW RV adapter is the adapter compatible to make the Mimosa radio connectorize it again. And we have all these stops available in in our warehouse. In Miami warehouse, we have stop in Dallas, and in San Antonio, sorry, San Antonio and El Paso. So Byron, do you have any comments to that?
Yes, Renaud, we had maybe the great um, uh, availability of B11 in United States. Yeah, the great numbers of these devices in our warehouse here right now in United States. So you can buy this and a very, very affordable price.
Oh,
So
that's great.
yes.
Perfect. So for all the attendees, do you have any question or answer you can add about this live webinar? So we are so very excited to hear you. You can write on the chat, or you can send direct message. We are open to hear you.
Okay, yes. And we have some attendees here. And right now, you have your microphones available, enabled, so you can ask any question or comment, and we will be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. So
So,
no, we didn't have any answer. So I think it's great. So do
so
you have one thing to more to add,
yeah.
Byron?
So once again, if you are looking for this B11 or the adapter of the MPTWRB, Icon right now is the largest, or we have the largest quantity in stock of this unit in United States, a very affordable price.
Perfect. So thank you to all the attendees. I'm I want to say thank you. We're expecting for you for in the new emission from live webinars from Epcon and Mimosa and NetPoint. So thank you for your time. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you for joining this webinar, and we wish you all a wonderful day. And thank you, David, for this very interesting webinar.
Thank you.
So have a great day, everyone.